Hey everybody, welcome to etrailer.com. I'm Bobby, and today we're taking a look at the Kuat Transfer V2 here on the back of our 2020 Ford F-150. Now guys, this can be a great little way of getting your precious bikes to the trailhead. Now obviously with the truck, we have a lot of ways of carrying our bikes. However, a lot of them can lead us to damaging our bike or our bed of our truck. Now, one of the most popular items I've seen out there is to get a tailgate pad to cover our tailgate and allow us to hang our bikes on the side. Now, that's going to be great if you want to carry a bunch of bikes up on that mountain, up to the trail where you guys are going. However, if we just want a quick little jaunt for ourselves and getting our nice bikes to where we want to go, the transfer can be an excellent option. Again, there are a lot of ways, but I think this can be an excellent way of making sure that we're getting the full use of the bed of our truck. Of course, you can see today we only have the 5.5 foot bed here today, so we're going to be cutting into that space a lot if we were to throw the bike up on there. What this can be great for, you got those long road trips. We want to make sure we are getting our bikes to our destination in a nice, concise manner, getting us a nice, stable platform with a lot of great security measures. So the transfer is going to give you all those things, and I think it's going to look good doing it too. You can see we have this unique U-shaped frame here today. That allows us to walk our bikes right up and put them in place here. Now, what that's going to be great for is for your heavier bikes, of course, as you can get underneath them. I mean, 30 pounds is not going to be nothing to a lot of people. It definitely is pretty heavy. And what's great about this guy, it does have a 40-pound capacity rating per bike. So we're going to have no trouble at all getting most of our standard and even those mountain bikes up on here. Now, one thing I would say, if you're looking for a way of getting a higher capacity rating out of this device, you actually can. Today, we're just simply on the 1.25" version shank style, which is only limited us to that 40-pound capacity. If we want to go up, get that 60-pound capacity per bike, we can just go ahead and take a look at our 2-inch shank version, which is going to be great for those bigger, heavier bikes. And I think that's where the transfer really starts excelling, because we can go right in, get those heavy bikes, place them in position, ratchet down, and we're good to go. Not having to fight over a clunky platform system that's in our way, not having to extend that back. It's just right there waiting for us. One great little thing with it too, you'll probably notice we have our carbon frame bike up on here. This can be an excellent way of getting carbon frame bikes to your destination as we don't have any frame contact. You'll notice that we have a ratcheting arm system here that clamps onto that front wheel, holding us in place and doing all of the work for us. So therefore, we're not warping and deteriorating that frame, and it'll get us there nice and safely. Now, one thing to say with this too, guys, if you do have any women's bikes, step-through bikes, or kiddos bikes, you might see that a lot of platform styles and even those hanging styles have an issue with actually making sure that we can get our bikes on there. Since we have this front wheel holding system, we're not worried about that at all. As long as we have that front wheel, we're going to have no trouble at all getting a host of different bikes up on here. The cradles themselves are nothing too crazy. As you can see on that back wheel, goes about 3 inches there. Again, you do have that nice 18C standard tire groove in there. Great for our bikes. And I really do like this front cradle. You're getting a lot of good contact on that front cradle, as well as a very wide cradle here today. Taking a look here, you can see it's about 5 inches in maximum. That inside, it's actually about 4.5 inches from that inside post there, guys. So not going to be awesome for your giant fat bike tires, but doing a great job even for your standard tires and even up into those bigger categories. The ratcheting arm system works very well too, and I am a big fan of how much kind of just little resistance it has here. Nothing too much, as you guys can see, but therefore it won't be bouncing around, causing any kind of damage. It's going to stay nice and concise here for us today. But I'll go ahead and set that to the side. Another awesome little feature too, you're going to find you have a nice little locking core here on the end. Of course, we do come with a bike cable that'll plug in after we run it through both of our bikes right into the side there. That locking core will go ahead and make sure our bikes stay to our carrier when we leave it unattended. One awesome little thing with it too, guys, definitely don't want to forget about, is it actually can tilt away while our bikes are on here. Now, it would be a little harder to reach to if we had a second bike here, but all I had to do, get that foot underneath it, drop it down, and simply let it hang on its own. Now, unfortunately today, our Ford's tailgate, definitely quite long. Don't think we're going to get maximum capability here. In fact, I think that will make contact with our bike. So unfortunately, you can't actually get to that full use of that tilting capability. What it can be great for, though, though, guys, if we have any other vehicles in the family that we want to throw this onto for some quick jaunts, really good allowing those hatchbacks to open. So that's primarily where you're seeing that tilting device really coming in fruition. Now, there might be a couple other platforms out there that sit a little bit further away from the Ford, which you definitely want to be looking at if you're wanting full access to that tailgate. Of course, here today, though, nice that I could go ahead and get a little bit of sneakage out of here. Again, though, with it resting on our bike, I really want to maximize our use of that tailgate drop. Even though we can tilt it away, it's just not really getting us that much away from our Ford, which is unfortunate, but that's just kind of how it works when you are working with tailgates. So to get our bike off, though, isn't going to take any time. To do so, I'm just going to start with this back strip here. It just has a simple little lever system to go ahead and release that ratcheting strip. It's just kind of a standard little rubber strip as well, and we can just go ahead and set it to the side. But that does bring us to our ratcheting arm system here. And you can see we are clamped down quite nicely here. To release it, we just go ahead and use that ergonomic grip, pressing in with our thumb, getting that up to the top and setting off to the side. And we can simply grab our bike and walk it off, and we are already ready to ride, which is really nice that we're not taking too much time to actually have to do that. And again, as you guys saw, that U-frame is just so nice because you can just walk right up, get underneath the weight of that bike, and especially if you're looking at 2-inch version, getting those 60-pound, even e-bikes up on here, nice that I can get underneath that and have that center of mass where it's easy for me to manage. Well, with this guy too, we want to go ahead and take a look at our clearance here. We definitely don't want to see us damaging our bikes at all. So from the ground to the end of our carrier here is going to be putting us right under 2 feet there. So about 23 3/4 inches from the ground to the end of our carrier. Definitely nothing I'm going to be too worried about. We are sitting fairly close here on the Ford since we only have the 2-bike version. And of course, what's nice about it, just keep in mind as those front wheels go up, the back will go down, and that way we are just being conscious of how our bikes are sitting on here. Another important dimension, keep in mind though, is going to be our length from the back of our vehicle. The Ford, already a long truck there, as you guys can see. So from the rear of the bumper to the end is putting us at 35 1/4 inches there to the end of our carrier. Not the longest I've seen, but we do have a way of shortening it down. That lever we utilized earlier is going to come back in play here. Today I'm just going to go ahead and use my hand, pressing that in, bringing this up into position. That'll lock in place, and I'm a really big fan of how little play there is in this position. So definitely not going to be feeling this on the back of the truck at all. Going to make for a nice smooth ride for ourselves. The only thing I'd watch out for, if you are having like a lot of off-roading, find yourself taking a lot of bumps and hits, you might see your arm just shifting lightly here. Again though, I don't think it's going to be causing any damage, especially because of how it's sitting. If we were super worried about it, we could take the strip and hold it in place. But again, shouldn't have too much issue at all with it. Just something to be conscious of if you guys are doing a little craziness out there. From the end of the bumper now to the inside is putting us at 4.5 inches to that inside of that cradle. And from our bumper to the end of our carrier is putting us at 13.5 inches there at that end of that anti-rattle. So ton of space has been cut down. In fact, now I definitely think we'll have no trouble getting this in the garage, or at least a lot more maneuverability to go ahead and park this guy. Moving our way down to the bottom though, you guys can go ahead and see we do have that 1.25 shank here today with our 2-inch converter on. So that's also a great little feature with the 1.25 version. Yes, we're having that lower capacity, but it does make it versatile for different vehicles in the family. On the inside, you'll just notice this little alignment pin doesn't do too much for us, of course, other than a last case emergency measure, of course, of holding that carrier in. Got that little clip there to make sure it's not shifting or leaving. But all the real work is really coming from this little knob right here. What this guy does is both our security element and our anti-rattle device. So what's happening is we have a little cam on the inside, and as we tighten this guy down, it's pushing that cam on the inside of our shank up into our receiver, bringing this all in line to one system. So as you guys can see, as I give this guy a shake, it's actually shaking the entirety of our Ford here today, which is making a nicer, smoother ride for ourselves, our bike rack, and especially our bikes. And speaking to the security measure on this, why we say that though is you will need a tool-specific key to actually get it out. So it will come with a Allen wrench with a certain little indent in here, which will prevent anybody who doesn't have that tool from actually taking it off. So it's kind of just a nice little integrated security measure. We don't have to have a locking core that we have to worry about. It just simply is secure by being such a unique design, which is awesome. One last thing to misplace when you are just trying to get on the road, it's just ready to go for ourselves. Of course, let's make sure we are keeping track of that tool, as it will be dependent upon to actually get this guy installed and off of our vehicle. Well, again, I'm a really big fan of the transfer. I think what's amazing about it, you can walk right up, put a foot down, hold on to your bike, get these guys to the side, and then step on the inside and get them set up. It takes no time at all to get these mounted, and I think that's the big takeaway from this. If you're looking for a great way with good security measures of just getting you to the trailhead, this is going to be an excellent option. It's going to prevent any damage to the bed of our truck or our bikes, and of course, it's going to look pretty good doing it on the back here of our F-150. Well, guys, I think that about does it for our look at the Kuat Transfer V2 2-bike platform rack here on our 2020 Ford F-150. I'm Bobby. Thank you for watching.